CNBC TV 18, celebrating 16 years of business leadership.
किसी ऐसे भाइयों ने ये रिपोर्ट नहीं दी कि ये खर्चा गलत हुआ। ऐसे भाइयों ने इस पूरे खर्चे को स्वीकार किया और इस विषय पर कोई फाइटिंग नहीं थी। ये सारा आरोप बेबुनियाद है, एकदम अपने आप में गलत है। मुझे केवल इतना ही कहना है।
इंक्वायरी ऑफ कमीशन सेटअप किया जाए और उसके लिए कल विधानसभा का स्पेशल सेशन बुलाया गया।
बेबुनियाद आरोप डालने से पहले सोचना था।
There should be an inquiry, of course, but if you don't hold this kind of an inquiry, there will be inquiry in the trial.
Over the last 3 days, the Patiala House Court has been buzzing with activity. After the Gandhis on Sunday, it was Arun Jaitley's turn today as he takes on Arvind Kejriwal and the Aam Aadmi Party over allegations of corruption at the Delhi Cricket Board. Good evening. Thanks very much for joining us on India Business Hour. Hi, Nedara.
Hi, Shireen. What a Monday, and we're going to see a big legal battle ahead of us.
Absolutely. This is going to be a high-stakes battle with Ram Jethmalani now throwing his weight behind Arvind Kejriwal. He is going to be defending Arvind Kejriwal in this defamation matter. But here, look at the other headlines that we're tracking for you this Monday evening. Brent crude slumps to its lowest level in 11 years as the supply glut continues unabated. The US lifting ban on oil exports adds more pressure.
A strong start to the Christmas week on Dalal Street. The Nifty reclaimed 7,800. SENSEX rallies over 200 points even as volumes remain thin.
An unprecedented showdown between a union minister and a state chief minister. Arun Jaitley sues Arvind Kejriwal for criminal defamation, also files another 10 crore rupee civil defamation case in the Delhi High Court.
Policy experts and opposition party leaders slammed the government over the WTO trade deal in Nairobi, say none of India's food security concerns have been addressed.
The government introduces the bankruptcy code in the Lok Sabha with a twist, tables the proposed legislation as a money bill to limit the role of the Rajya Sabha.
Supreme Court refuses to impose a stay of the release of the juvenile convict in the Delhi gang rape case. Parents of the victim Jyoti Singh take to the streets. Rajya Sabha to take up amendments to the Juvenile Justice Act tomorrow.
Indigo warns of a delay in the delivery of the fuel-efficient Airbus A320neo aircraft, cites industrial reasons, but no word on when the delivery is likely. The stock tanks over 5%.
Sun Pharma tumbles in trade after the US drug regulator slaps a warning letter on the company's Halol plant. Brokerages are divided on the stock. CLSA says worst is over, but Morgan Stanley expects more pressure.
At some point we're going to stop growing at 50%.
Right.
But I don't know when that is.
Eicher Motors seeks a bigger slice of the global markets, plans to take Royal Enfield to developing markets, without taking on KTM or Harley-Davidson head-on. Siddharth Lal admits that the 50% growth rate may not be sustainable. All of that and more coming up for you in just a bit, but straight to the action on Dalal Street, where the bulls seem to be getting into the Christmas spirit. It's been a strong start to the week, even as market participation has remained low, which is what we traditionally see in this period. The SENSEX gained about 200 points. It's moved closer to the 26,000 mark. The Nifty also gained nearly 1% to get back above the 7,800 mark. IPOs back in vogue, and healthcare major tops the list of the companies looking to make a debut on Dalal Street. What is more enthusing is the fact that investors are excited. Narayana Hrudayalaya, which is the latest healthcare giant to take the plunge, has seen a good response to its IPO issue, with the offer being subscribed nearly 9 times. It's the institutional investors who clearly want a piece of the pie, with the segment being subscribed over 24 times, while the H&I segment has seen a subscription of 3.6 times. The retail segment has seen a comparatively mellower response, which is what we saw with with the Indigo IPO as well. But let's go to the big story tonight. It's the sell-off in the oil market, which is intensifying. Brent crude has hit its lowest level in 11 years. Oil is now cheaper than it was during the entire 2008 financial crisis. Joining us now live from the NYMEX is Jackie DeAngelis. Jackie, investors bracing themselves for a more downside from here?
Absolutely, and this theme, lower for longer, is certainly poised to last, especially throughout the first half of 2016. Pricing today, just over $34 a barrel. Remember, the January contract is going to expire. We're going to move on to February, and when you look at Brent today, hitting an 11-year low, the February WTI and the February Brent contract, the premium really contracting. In your tease at the top of the show, you mentioned the fact that the U.S. is considering lifting the ban on exports, and yes, that absolutely will add more oil to the global marketplace, and that is why that premium is coming in the way it is, because all of this oil will be competing now on the same global stage. This is good news, however, for U.S. gas prices, and it has been a boon to consumers. AAA reporting that the national average for a gallon of regular has fallen under $2 a gallon. It's 41 cents lower than it was at this time last year. 2/3 of U.S. gas stations are now under $2. Let me put this into concrete monetary terms for you. In the United States, consumers have saved $115 billion on gas this year. It's about $550 a person, and we are expecting to see more people travel over the holiday season to take advantage of that. Now, whether or not this is translating into sales within the economy, in the retail space per se, still remains to be seen, but it's certainly something to watch as we go ahead. But I'll finish by saying lower for longer, certainly to be expected. Nothing has changed with respect to the fundamental supply and demand story.
Thanks, Jackie, for joining us with us. The fundamentals are not changing. You've had brokerage firms like Goldman Sachs also predicting $20 for oil. Not been a good year at all for the crude market. Let's talk about the equity markets now. Shares on Wall Street are on a fine fittle. As after a solid opening, they continue to trade with healthy gains as we speak. So pretty much shrugging off what's happening in the commodity markets, particularly crude. You have the Dow up by 0.7%, and the S&P and NASDAQ up by almost 0.8%. Back home, if Saturday saw the Congress put up a show of strength outside the Patiala House Court compound when its president and vice president appeared before a magistrate in the National Herald case. Today, it was the turn of BJP to show its support for the finance minister, Arun Jaitley, who was flanked by a whole battery of his union cabinet colleagues while filing a defamation case against the Delhi Chief Minister, Arvind Kejriwal, and 5 of the Aam Aadmi Party people to do with the Delhi cricket scam. But this after he did some firefighting inside Parliament today.
If it was Congress showing solidarity with the Gandhis on Saturday, on Monday, it was BJP's turn to back their leader, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley. Jaitley first sued Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal and AAP leaders in the High Court for 10 crores and then appeared in Patiala House Court to seek criminal action against Kejriwal and his party colleagues for accusing him of corruption in the Delhi District Cricket Association case.
Pre-summoning evidence will be recorded on 5th of January, with Sri Arun Jaitley appearing as a complainant.
While the legal battle was on, the political war was also heating up. Protesting against Jaitley, Congress members carried placards in Parliament with slogans saying, "First resign, then discuss," and Caesar's wife should be above suspicion. The same lines that Jaitley had once used for the then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh.
ये सारा आरोप बेबुनियाद है, एकदम अपने आप में गलत है, मुझे केवल इतना ही कहना है।
Jaitley's party colleague Kirti Azad, who had first alleged corruption in DDCA under Jaitley, too continued with his onslaught.
I'm speaking against corruption. Do you think the party will take action against me because of corruption? Because I'm speaking against corruption.
The Delhi government too refused to bow down. Kejriwal set up a one-member committee headed by Gopal Subramaniam to prove allegations of corruption in the Delhi District Cricket Association.
अरुण जेटली ने क्रिकेट में भ्रष्टाचार किया, ये उसका मामला है। आज मैं कह रहा हूं अरुण जेटली महाभ्रष्टाचारी हैं।
While AAP and BJP fight it out, the BJP is also in a fix as to what action, if any, to take against Kirti Azad for defying party leadership and going after Jaitley. Bureau Report, CNN IBN.
Well, Bhupendra Chaubey, who's been tracking all the action, joins us now. Bhupendra, this is an unprecedented event. It's a state chief minister versus the union finance minister. Where is this story headed? Can we expect the BJP now to take action against Kirti Azad? What do you make of the developments of the day?
Well, that's it's a million-dollar question. Where is this headed? Is this just going to be restricted in the courts of law, or will this be impacting the relationship between the centre and the state? Well, first things first, I think that Mr. Jaitley certainly has personally been very embarrassed. I've been speaking to him over the last couple of days since the story first broke out, and one has sensed a sense of distinct unease on his mind. It is true that he would have liked his party to come in and support him in a more vigorous manner, and we've just seen Amit Shah, the BJP president, now come out with a statement saying that Arun Jaitley is completely clean and no one needs to give him any character certificate. Today when he went to the court, there was a slew of union ministers, many of whom could be described as people who owe their political careers and who owe their ministerships in a sense to Mr. Arun Jaitley himself, the likes of Dharmendra Pradhan and Nirmala Sitharaman, Rajyavardhan Rathore, a whole range of ministers present at the Patiala House Court today. My biggest fear at this point is that you are looking at a scenario, Shireen, where the finance minister has now decided to take Arvind Kejriwal head-on. It's a no-holds-barred battle. Arvind Kejriwal has set up a commission now which will specifically look into all allegations which have been made by Kirti Azad and others. This commission is being headed by Gopal Subramaniam, a top legal eagle of this country. But Gopal Subramaniam himself is not necessarily on the best of terms with Arun Jaitley, because he believes on his mind that he was denied the opportunity to be a Supreme Court judge last year because of certain parts of this government. Now, is this story headed therefore in a direction where those within the legal and political fraternity who are opposed to Arun Jaitley for multiple reasons are all coming together only and only to settle a personal score with him? Or is this about cleansing up of the Delhi District Cricket Association? I think the DDCA quite clearly is now on the back foot. The target for this entire group clearly is Arun Jaitley. That, to my mind, is the real story which is now unfolding from here on.
All right, Bhupen, appreciate you joining us and expect more developments on this matter tomorrow. But in a bid to bypass the Rajya Sabha, the government has introduced the bankruptcy code, but with a twist. The bill that was moved in the Lok Sabha today has been moved as a money bill. This will mean that the role of the upper house will be limited and will ensure the easy passage of this bill. So why the money bill route? Under Article 109 of the Constitution, a money bill cannot be introduced in the Rajya Sabha. Not just that, the upper house cannot reject or amend the bill, and it must be returned within 14 days. But the big question is, does the bankruptcy code qualify as a money bill? The Constitution states that all matters relating to imposing, abolishing or regulating a tax and government borrowing qualify as a money bill. Also, matters related to the consolidation fund or the contingency fund qualify as a money bill. Now, last week I had spoken with the Coal and Power Minister Piyush Goyal on the possibility of the centre taking the money bill route to ensure the passage of crucial legislation. Goyal had not ruled out that possibility, and that's exactly the route that the government has decided to take. There were reports coming in yesterday that seem to suggest, and this is something the finance minister has alluded to in the past as well, that the government may consider the money bill route in order to get over the impasse in the Rajya Sabha. Is that now a serious possibility for things like the Aadhaar bill, for things like the bankruptcy code?
So all options are open. Wherever we think it's a national interest and the matters can be taken up by the Lok Sabha, which fortunately is functioning. I'm sure the government of the day has every right to, in the interest of the people, in the interest of economic progress, act.
Well, that was the Power Minister talking about the possibility of exercising the money bill option, and that's exactly what they've done with the bankruptcy code. We now are joined by Supreme Court advocate and senior lawyer Harish Salve. Mr. Salve, appreciate you joining us. For the benefit of our viewers and for our own understanding as well, we are given to understand that the money bill or a bill can qualify as a money bill if it involves the imposition, abolition, remission, alteration or regulation of any tax. How do you then explain the bankruptcy code being brought in via the money bill route, sir?
In fact, I'm surprised somebody thought it could be brought otherwise. There are provisions in bill for amendment of various tax laws, union tax laws, Customs Act, Excise Act. To just use the right expression, remission of taxes. Now, in the constitutional sense, imposition, abolition, remission of taxes is a money bill. So if there are going to be amendments to the union tax laws, it does become a money bill.
Okay, so for the benefit of our viewers again, I'm looking at the financial memorandum of the bankruptcy code, and clause 8 there very clearly specifies that the 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 6th schedules of the insolvency and bankruptcy code seek to propose appropriate changes in the Central Excise Act, the Income Tax Act, the Customs Act and the Finance Act of 1994. So you're saying on account of those changes, this does qualify and categorize as a money bill?
If you just remember what you read just now, it's financial memorandum. This is a classical money bill. In fact, if these amendments have to be made, if you're going to affect the income tax, if you're going to affect central excise, if you're going to amend Customs Act, it has to be through money bill.
Okay, so you're saying that this qualifies as a classical money bill. Mr. Salve, you've... Okay, if I could also ask you about what could be the challenges in implementability, because this would require the amendment of certain other provisions as well outside of the acts that we just spoke about, which make it a money bill. What do you see as the challenges perhaps for the implementation of this legislation?
I have not studied it in detail, and I'm sure there will be challenges as we go along, but you know, Sharon, for a very long time, corporate India and the working for financial sector as well as the working of the industrial sector has solely lamented the absence of a bankruptcy law, which is there in every country. Companies can go bankrupt. Individuals go insolvent. We have the insolvency law. Corporate insolvency is today a very important issue. And where there is corporate bankruptcy, you may at times need to rescue corporations as you rescue individuals under the insolvency law. How do you do it? Today you have an extreme situation. You take a company to winding up and you sink it. Winding up is not a solution. So in larger public interest, we have been sort of demanding that a bankruptcy law in line with American laws of administration, the British laws of bankruptcy, they have brought in place. This is there in almost every developed country and important economy. So I think this is a very positive step the government has brought. It will send, hopefully, a good signal to the market that reforms are back on track.
Okay. And once again, sir, for the benefit of our viewers, a money bill does not require the approval of the upper house. It cannot be amended or rejected by the upper house. It will deem to have been cleared by both houses of parliament once the Lok Sabha passes it. We're clear about that.
That's right. Absolutely.
All right, Mr. Salve, appreciate you joining us here. So it looks like if the Lok Sabha gives the go-ahead in this session of Parliament, the bankruptcy code is on its way to becoming law, because it will not require the route of the upper house. It will not require the approval of the upper house to be passed. So it seems like it is a done deal if the Lok Sabha were to clear it in this session of Parliament, and India will have a new bankruptcy code.